Hello, my name is Emeko Kreke and welcome to yet another video from Tech Talk at EO Multimedia, which is my channel. So today I just want to give you a sense of what I've been up to since we got into this new year, 2021. I started this YouTube channel last year, and it was only towards the later part of last year that I started putting more effort into it. When I started it, I wasn't really thinking about it so much. I didn't sit down to sort of like think of the future of it or to have super high hopes for it. I was just doing it as a way of trying out. It was my first time of saying, I want to do something like this and put it out there for people to watch. So I started from ground zero. So far, it's been an interesting, if I should say, even fulfilling journey for me. That's because thanks to you all subscribers who have been subscribing, but also been very active and engaging with the content that I've been putting out since, the inception of the channel. And because of you, we are, as I speak, about 300 and something subscribers strong and still counting. So coming into this year, I started thinking of what to do with the channel and how I'm going to go about enhancing the content for you out there. So I started with sort of like putting my pocket where my mouth is, so to speak. So I went out and I started to upgrade some of the equipment that I'll be using to bring content to you. Now, the aim for this channel for me boils down to invariably two things. One is to encourage and boost productivity, but also to improve our lifestyle, to talk about all the device and all the equipment and all the tech things that we use for everyday consumption of media and going about our daily life and workflow. Secondly, is to also make informed consumers and buyers out of us. Because for me, I think that it is important that we get a sense of how we fit in all of this and also how these things affect our lives beyond all the usual hype and buzz that surrounds usually, publicity that comes with the publicity of all these devices. So one thing I'm thinking of doing with this channel is to once in a while inject something that helps us to expand our knowledge. For instance, I'm thinking that I could come up one day and decide to talk about a book that I'm reading or that I encountered within the week or within the month. For instance, I have been reading this book called The Age of Surveillance Capitalism by Shoshana Zuboff. And it's an interesting book. You can see that it's quite voluminous and I'm just somewhere halfway. Yeah. And basically it talks about the era of surveillance capitalism, which is heralded by the likes of Google. We're on YouTube, Facebook, but also Apple. These companies have become so big and powerful. But what that power also means is that they have power over our private lives and they have devised means of converting our private lives into data. And they have created very elaborate infrastructure for, siphoning and extracting our data. We all know about the battle now that is going on between Facebook and Apple. And it's all, about privacy and security. So when these two big elephants are fighting, the ground that suffers are the everyday people like you and I. So I'm thinking that it's important that beyond talking about all these devices and all this equipment, all these platforms, Apple this, Google that is also important that we know the power that comes with our subjectivity. Because as everyday people, the one power that we have and that we can explore and exploit is the power of our subjectivity. So I am thinking that going forward, I'll be once in a while bringing in aspects like this, books like this that sort of like helps to inform us, but also it could be music, it could be just anything that I find. Now, talking about the upgrades that I've made, I started with microphone. And the reason why I started with the microphone is that beyond this YouTube channel, I've always had interest and continue to have interest in projects that has to do with music and vocals. As a matter of fact, I have a podcast project. I'm also doing music, also vocals, like for instance, spoken words. Converting my poems, because I also write a lot of poems, converting my poems from, written form to spoken words. So I started thinking, what microphone will I get that will sort of like be versatile and a kind of all-rounder? And eventually I settled for the Shure SM7B, this one here, Now, this microphone is very robust, well made, built. Now, for those who know this microphone, you already know that it comes with a steep price. But again, it goes all the way back to, say, 1978, when Michael Jackson used it to record the album Billie Jean. And since then, it's been used by many celebrities and legends in the music and vocal industry. But for me, the main reason why I went for it is that after much research, I realized that it is one microphone that is able to do for me what I need to do across the board. So it is good with vocals, but also it is very good with things like podcasts. I mean, already it is the industry standard for radio work and all of that. Now, before the Shure SM7B, I was using the Rode Podmic, and I have it here as well. This is it. I have two of those. Now, this microphone is very, very, very good. And it is sold by Rode as a podcast microphone. And for that, it is almost perfect, especially for its price. Now, this one goes for about €100 in this part of the world. And that is really, really cheap for, how it feels. And so this is a microphone that if you are looking for a microphone that is going to carry you across many podcast projects, many episodes, and even into, say, 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now, you've got it. And it's very cheap. The reason why, like I said, I put it on the side was because I was looking for something that would go beyond podcast for me. So as I was looking for microphone and researching, I came across this microphone made by Zoom. And no, it's not Zoom of the online communication company that we have been, using and gotten used to in this past months. I'm talking about Zoom of the audio and sound engineering company responsible for making all the Zoom H series of H5, H6, H4 that we usually use for field recording and all that. So they've come up with their own microphone, and it comes in a podcast mic pack. And so when I saw it, I was like, interesting. Let me reach out to them and see if they can give me a unit or so to just test out. And you know what? They were kind enough to send out 2 units to me. They just arrived in the studio 2 days ago, and I have it here. So this is how the podcast mic pack comes. In the box, you will find the dynamic microphone, like we see in this diagram here, the headphone, a stand here, cable for the headphone, and so many other accessories within it. And all of this for the price of only €120. It's amazing. Now, the thing is this. I have not plugged in this, microphone, let alone even used it. So I don't know, and I can't say for now what the sound is like. But that's what I'm going to be doing in the next video. I'm going to put it through its paces, and I'm going to do a deep dive into the microphone. So I intend to make a comparison between the Zoom ZDM1, which is what it's called, and the Rode Podmic. And then eventually I will weigh the 2 microphones against or side by side the Shure SM7B, just to underscore the fact that it is not necessary to go for an expensive device, especially if you are starting out, say in this case, podcast. If you are starting out or you have idea to embark on a podcast project for this year, I tell you, there are so many microphones out there that you can start off with. It is not a must to begin with something like the Shure SM7B. Just to give all of this a context, for the price of one Shure SM7B, you can get 4 of the Rode Podmic, or about 3 packs of these ZDM1s. This is what the ZDM1 looks like. It is well built, so there is nothing about the cheap price that it comes with that says that it is not premium. The Podmic is heavier, considerably heavier than the Zoom, but again, they both look very premium. So for aesthetics, looks like the Zoom ZDM1 is borrowing aesthetics from the Shure SM7B, while in terms of feel and look, it is borrowing from the Rode Podmic. So all of this I'm going to be testing in the next video that is coming out to you. Now, again, one thing I have to say about the ZDM1 is that it is a podcast mic pack. So just for the microphones. Now, there is also the question of the audio interface, which does not come with it. So the microphones and the headphones, they help you to record your voice, but then you have to record it into something. Now, if you have the Zoom H4, H5, or H6, then you are good to go. However, if you don't have that, you have to purchase those separately. Now, Zoom also makes their audio interface dedicated specifically to podcasting. And it comes in two versions. The first one is a more portable one, which is the Podtrak P4. And it has 4 audio inputs. So you can record up to 4 persons. That is you and 3 other guests. Now, the second one is called the P8. And that one is a much more complex and robust device. It's a preamp and a mixer at the same time. It comes with 6 microphone inputs. So you can record up to 6 persons at once. And that one is the one that is almost competing with the Rodecaster Pro, which is what I have here in my studio. And so I have reached out to Zoom and asked them to send me the Podtrak P8. So what I intend to do is to compare that with my Rodecaster Pro, which, by the way, is amazing. It is called Rodecaster Pro, but it does way more than, podcasting. I'm using it virtually for everything. I'm using it right now as a preamp for this and a mixer for this video. I have the microphone that is just above me now connected to it. So it's serving as a preamp. It's processing the audio before it goes into the camera already. Now I also use it for Zoom and many other. In fact, for everything that has to do with audio, even for my DJing and for my Miss Cloud, channel, I'm also using the Rodecaster Pro. So it does way more than that. And I believe that the Zoom P8 is more on that same line as well. Now, beyond the microphones, I also went for new lights because, videos are all about light. So the 2 main lights that I bought are from Godox, this company that has been very, very good so far with making pro lights, but at a very, very affordable price. And that's Godox. So I bought 2 Godox. The first one is the VL150, which is now serving as my key light, and then the ML60, which is serving as my rim light. Now, as the name implies, the VL150 is 150 watts, and the ML60, which is just above me, is 60 watts. And so far, the light, and I'm very happy with their output. Of course, I did my research before going for it, so I knew what I was going to get. Other lights were like very small lights. One of them is the Aputure F7 that is light in the background somewhere. And I also have a pocket mini light from F7, a company called F7. And it's funny because Aputure calls their light F7, and then there is a company called F7 that makes pocket mini RGB light that is light in the background somewhere. So I also got some light stands and C stands and all of that and little other things, for the studio. So that's it from me for today. If all of this resonates with you, please think of subscribing if you have not subscribed, because it's going to be a wonderful journey and I'm looking forward to making this journey with you all. Thank you very much, and see you in the comment section. If you have any questions for me whatsoever, if you have any comments or any advice or any suggestions, just drop it on the comment section. Otherwise, see you in the next video. Have a lovely day. Bye-bye.